everybody, and thanks for joining. I'm j.hill with j.hill Fine Art, freelance artist and instructor. Today I'm going to share with you how I color a pear in grayscale using French grays. So right here I've got my Caran Luminance color pencils in 1030 and 70% French gray plus black and white. I've also swatched out each of the pencils on a separate piece of paper, that way I have a quick reference guide as to which colors I would like to use. I usually start out with a line drawing drawn out in color pencil. Sometimes graphite is hard to remove and it can show through the colored pencils. I'll then carefully look at my reference photo and identify where the values are. I'll then loosely sketch in those areas of shadows and lights that I see, and I sort of imagine them as organic shapes. This is a very easy way to color block all your values in, and also keeping yourself organized so you don't feel so overwhelmed. It's very handy to do this, especially if you're working on larger pieces with a lot more complexity to them. As I'm coloring these areas in, you can see that I'm using a small, compact circular motion. It's very important to keep a light hand as you're doing this. You want to keep the integrity of the paper instead of putting a lot of pressure and burnishing. If you have a light hand, you can add lots and lots of layers. The more layers that you add with different colors or different values, the more depth your picture is going to have. So if you struggle with having a heavy hand, you're going to end up burnishing your paper or filling the tooth up too quickly, and you won't be able to get as many layers. Paper choice is also important. I'm using a paper called Pastelmat from Clairfontaine, which is a textured paper, and this paper will allow me to add lots of layers of colored pencil. I tend to have a little bit of a heavy hand, so it is a little forgiving with that, which I find super helpful. Now that I have everything filled in, I'm going to start blending it out with a paintbrush and some odorless mineral spirits. As I go from one section of value to another, I try to keep those same colors in those areas. I don't want my highlight areas to get too muddy. So if I do go from a dark spot to a light spot, I will make sure to clean my brush and wipe it off on a paper towel. Once I have everything blended, then I'll carefully go and blend the lines between each different area value. It's important to let these areas dry completely before you go over them with your color pencils, otherwise you could damage the paper. Sometimes it's handy to have your reference photo on your computer screen or a tablet like I do here. That way you can zoom in and you can really take a good look at the texture. When you're adding texture into your picture, it's good to think of it as more of a pattern. So it's always going to be a series of lines or dots or squiggles, and it's usually a repeating pattern of those shapes. As I'm creating these little details of these dots and squiggle marks, I'm thinking about the lighting and the light source of this pear. So each of these small details will be picking up part of that light source. So always look at your reference photo really closely to see what side of your squiggle mark or dot has a highlight or a shadow. So usually I will just take the appropriate value and I will just kind of dance around these details with these values just to sort of give the illusion or suggestion that there is form to each of the details. I then take my blender brush with just a little tiny bit of the Odorless Mineral Spirits and I'm just softening all those details that I've drawn in. You don't need a lot of liquid, you barely need any at all, so if you just wipe it off on a paper towel really good and just use the residue, that should be enough just to soften. As I'm getting to the finish of my picture, I will just go around and reinforce areas where it needs some darker values or lighter values, or if it needs some sharpening. I just sort of take a good step back, take a look at my reference photo and compare it with what I have, and usually I can tell what areas need a little bit more work. So I just repeat the process of layering color pencil and layering more details and blending them together until it looks like I want it to look. And here it is all finished. Thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you next time.